Ecclesia Gnostica is the debut full-length album from Oratos. This is a French melodic black metal band, and one that was started by a fellow named Wilhelm, and he was followed by vocalist lyricist Aharon of Griffin. And of course, those are very related. That's a very related band to think about when you approach this record, not only because of the vocalist and his focus on the lyrics, which are Gnosticism related, but there's a certain modern but still heavily melodic style of French black metal here, which develops in their own way. I can see the roots of maybe listening to a lot of classic French black metal, as well as probably bands like Rotting Christ in their formative stages, because we see the presentation echoing a lot of those layering of vocals, of development of black metal grooves, as well as the cadence of the vocalist, which you can tell there's just a little bit of like maybe a Rotting Christ in there at some point, but there's other influences, of course, maybe a bit of dissection and some other things. We won't necessarily hear something like vehemence in this presentation, although it is quite sophisticated and lyrical in its presentation. This is maybe more of a blunt instrument at times, and maybe more of a performative, blustering chorale at others. So we'll cut into a song and see some of that range in a short clip. So, like many heavy metal records, this is kind of a tale of three parts. The big opening, which takes a while to sort of sink in. The middle portion, which is it's fully there, but maybe that takes just as long to work. And finally, by the final act, I've really gotten it. I've felt the language. I've learned the language. I've got the vernacular down, and I understand what they're doing. So maybe the second pass is going to be the stronger one when you approach this record. The first one kind of races through. They have their own much more better developed style and presentation than their first EP, and these songs waste no time getting to their intense layered riffs, and a lot of them are fairly chaotic to start, and not in a jagged way, but a very I would say hypnotic, serpentine sort of way. I think two songs here really exemplify what this record are all about. Deuteros is almost it leans into a little bit of a progressive touch as they present this big and lofty melodic arc. I think this is one of the most inspired themes of the record, and it's a really important just a look at what's different about this record, and what's shows off what they can do other than the usual just riff-driven stuff. But I'd have to point to De la Noce Eternelle as maybe the point where the traditional melodic black metal fan will connect with the record easily, because it's just a very direct melodic black metal song. So there's a decent amount of variety there. There's a lot of complex melodic layers there, and I think a lot of people will be very impressed with the way it all comes together in presentation. And I think having the lyrics, maybe you need to understand French or sit down and translate it, but the subject here is maybe half of the appeal too. So I didn't find that overall I connected deeply with this record, although I appreciated it quite a bit. I think the audio visuals, the album art, and the art curation of the layout are brilliant. I think it's stylized perfectly. It introduces the band in a very sophisticated way, and I think the production values are just as strong. And I think maybe the songwriting felt maybe a little bit simple in its overall rhythmic statements. I was looking for something with a little bit more depth, but on the other hand, there are riffs flying all over the place. So it's a matter of seeing the forest for the trees, and I didn't quite get there in the process of review. So very fine record, maybe not entirely pristine. It doesn't quite reach the standard that it promises, but it reaches an insane standard for a debut, and I definitely wanted to talk about it because it was such a strong introduction for a band that is well above average in most aspects. So check that out when it releases on the 19th, and go ahead and listen to a couple of songs and read the review on the website.